Hello, Austin. This is Eric Webb with Austin 360, and I am here with a team from Shrill, the new Hulu original series, and we're going to get down to business. We're going to talk about some of the inspirations behind the show. We're going to talk about sort of the feelings that this team has bringing Lindy's memoir to life on the small screen, which could also be on the big screen. Really any size screen you want to put it on.
All the screens. Any
Yeah.
screen. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Little.
Choose your own screen, really. So, Lindy, to kick it off, my question was, so you wrote Shrill, your memoir, and now it's being adapted sort of for the small screen. Do you ever feel cognitive dissonance kind of watching what was your life and has now inspired someone else's fictional life? Do you ever like watch it or like be on set and see something happen and be like, wait a second, that seems familiar, yet so not?
I mean, sure, it's like definitely surreal in certain ways, but it's also the project has felt so charmed from the very beginning when we had such an amazing team putting it together. And I was there in the writer's room, like I was there building these scenes too. So it's just felt really fun. And it's not a biopic of me. That would be weird and boring. And so there is enough distance that it's not too creepy and stressful. It's really it's because the character's not me. She's a person that we invented for the show. There are some moments that are pulled from my life that are kind of freaky to watch, but for the most part, no. It's just been like really fun and magical.
So Shrill, not freaky, not creepy. No.
Magical.
Magical, very magical. And then, so I actually saw you at the Mayborn conference up in North Texas a little while ago. I know, yeah, it got a little wild during the speaking session. But I know that you talk a lot about shouting your abortion and kind of getting abortion stories out in the open to destigmatize. And I read in the New York Times that in Shrill, you wanted to bring abortion to the small screen. What are your thoughts on sort of the effects that telling those types of stories can have in pop culture?
Well, I think that in pop culture, the narrative around abortion is really, really narrow, and we don't hear and see the kinds of stories that are actually the most common, where a person is pregnant and they don't want to be pregnant, and they have hopefully access to their constitutionally protected medical care, and they go receive it and then live the rest of their life with relief and gratitude. And I don't remember seeing that on television before, and it was really, it's actually a very, very normal version of the story. And so I think that the public perception of abortion is really skewed because the narrative is so controlled by extremists and, or, if you do see it presented on television, it's usually in this sort of high drama moment. And as a result, I think people don't really know how to talk about abortion. People are really uncomfortable even just saying the word. And so having the opportunity to present it in such a honest, real way, and also as a sort of positive moment in this person's life where she is empowered and is in control and is making decisions, her own decisions about her own future, that hopefully will have an impact. I mean, on people who watch it. I hope that it does.
And so now, 80, you are no stranger to creating characters on Saturday Night Live. Recently, there was a sketch you did on the Weekend Update desk with Kate McKinnon with the women that own the meat farm that I did watch 5 times and immediately text to everyone I knew. So this is a different kind of character. This is maybe not as zany as some of the creations. Same exact thing. So not creepy, but maybe zany. So can you kind of walk us through the differences between creating a off-the-wall sketch character and then creating someone who I would assume is maybe a little more lived in, a little more of a normal person?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think at SNL, well, the big difference is time. So like SNL, the first time you're doing the character is Wednesday, and then you'll do it on Saturday, and then it's over. So, it's like has like a 3 or 4 day life period sometimes. And I think for this, we really had the opportunity to develop it and kind of combine some of my experiences and Lindy's experiences and the experiences of our writers and make something from scratch and to really sit with that. And I think a lot of what's happening in the show is really close to experiences I've had. Even if it's not direct, it's like I know what it feels like to be embarrassed, or I know what it feels like to feel uncomfortable. Those are normal feelings for me. So to get to do that in like this sort of longer, more lived-in thing was great. But yeah, and then I would just say at SNL, you're usually like looking right into camera and going like, wow! And this is a lot more subtle.
We're learning a lot about what Shrill is and what Shrill is not. It's not wow, it's not zany, but yeah. And then, and magical, very magical. Let's not forget the magic. Never forget the magic. And then, so in that same New York Times profile, or the New York Times story I read about you wanting to bring abortion on the small screen, I also read this great quote that Lorne Michaels said that you had this inherent decency and that you radiated goodness, which is like the nicest compliment I can think that you could get, especially from your boss. Yeah, so can you kind of talk to me about how decency, or the idea of decency or goodness as like a philosophy, or it's just kind of who you want to be in the world, how do you apply that to the characters that you play and just how you like walk through life?
Oh my God, that's a big ass question. I mean, I don't know. I was incredibly touched by what Lorne says, because SNL is a hard place to work, and you want to try and keep your dignity and be kind to everyone, especially when you've worked 24 hours. You still want to try and be a nice person to work with. I mean, I think as far as this character and even working with all these amazing ladies is like, we were just trying to keep things grounded and like give this character some heart, and that sometimes previously when you've seen a fat character on TV, they're like the friend or a little side character, and that this is the hero of our story. She's the center of it, and letting her be a good person who you want to root for, and so I felt very much like this is a good person who the audience can love, and if they love me too, that would be so nice.
I'm feeling pretty good about that. Those chances, yeah. Yeah. See,
nice.
Yeah, we're having a very kind, gentle interview here with Austin 360. So Elizabeth, maybe this is like kind of related, but why is now the right time for Shrill as a TV show?
I mean, first of all, it's probably been the right time for this show for a long time. We just get to do it right now. Yeah. Partially because she wrote an amazing book. That really shed light, I think, and was a call to action for representation in media, and not just about abortion and not just about a fat character, but about empowered women generally, and especially young women in their 20s who I think face a lot of criticism on a daily basis, whether we're being told that you don't look right, or you don't act right, or you don't smile enough. This was a show that was about somebody who just stands up and overcomes all of that and figures out how to be the woman that they want to be. And I was really moved by that story and inspired by it. So I think it's an epic tale for this moment and for every moment.
And then, so hopefully, Shrill premieres, the world has changed forever, nothing is ever the same. What do you think a post-Shrill world in the TV landscape, in the film landscape, in any landscape, maybe rivers, valleys, ravines, what do you think a post-Shrill world looks like?
What do you think, Allie?
I was just thinking about how I was always told to smile in my life. And I was like, the next time someone tells me to smile, I'm going to tell them to go fuck themselves. Yeah. And then it was a cop.
I cannot wait for that to be an episode on the next season of Shrill.
I did it. That's the world.
I know that's good to tell people to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, so we're, it's making a difference, basically. In your interactions with cops, in our use of profanity in our daily lives. So Allie, kind of related maybe, since we all just kind of touched on a moment that we had a good laugh about, when you were making Shrill was one of the funniest moments on set, or one of the moments where maybe you just like thought, we've got some comedy gold here?
It was obviously from something I wrote. Just kidding. I don't know. There was something. There was a part where everyone like kind of it's like we thought of it as the Real Housewives moment because everyone's either like crying or yelling or laughing or cheering, and then the dog is like, they got the dog to like literally jump in the air from excitement, and I don't know, I thought it was funny.
I mean, if we're talking airborne dogs, that seems like that's
Super magical.
hard. Yeah, magic. Again, it's magic. Well, thank you all so much for joining me here today. Guys, Shrill is premiering on Hulu. It's the new original series starring A.D. Bryant, based on the writing of Lindy West. Make sure to check awesome360.com for the rest of South by Southwest for the latest photos, videos, reviews, magical jumping dogs, you name it, we'll have it. And make sure to follow us on social media as well. Thanks, y'all.